Hey everybody, I am back. Yes, it has been a few days since I've been working on my game, about a week or so. But I finally got some time and I'm ready to continue making progress. So let's do that. And first thing I got to do is remember where I left off. So if I remember correctly, yes, I have some terrain generated and rendering, but it's not very good terrain. It's just very noisy terrain. But that was, I think, what I wanted. So yeah, I'm going to continue there and make it better terrain. And depending on time, I maybe have a guy running on top of that terrain, but we'll see. No promises here. Okay, so what I want to do, let's see. So yeah, earlier I just made everything random. So I'm going to just for now set it to 0. And that should just give me a flat plane, which it does. It looks good. So now I'm going to, let's see, I'm going to put, okay, I'm going to take off this little offset here that I'm doing. All right, so that should just put the terrain in the corner. Oops, I got something going on here. There we go. Yeah, okay, so that puts the terrain just there in, looks like the normal for this one corner is wrong. Let me, that would be this corner here. Let me just try, I think I just gotta flip these around. Uh-oh. Yeah, I think that, okay, yeah, that was all it was. That fixed that, that's good. Yeah, I don't see any other weird anomalies along the edges, so let's stick with that for now. But one thing I do want to do is my terrain, I made it as having a 2D array of vectors, but that's not really necessary. It should just be float for the height, because the position, the X and Z position, I can calculate otherwise. There's no reason to save it like that. So let me, this is going to be a pain in the butt, but let me change this. I'm going to change that to a float array, 2D array, and I'm just going to call it height map. Height map. Okay, so that's going to break all kinds of things. So let me first try to fix all of that. So first, yeah, everywhere it says vertex positions, I want to change to say height map. And then, so yeah, these should be floats. Did I change it? Yeah. Okay, so here, yeah, I'm not actually doing anything with the position, with the vector. So this would actually just be this. Oh yeah, so this is going to change this all up too. I didn't even think about that. Okay, so yeah, so this is no longer going to be a pointer. This is just going to be a vector 3 with j for the x. That's going to be the y, except for it's going to say height map. And then the z coordinate is going to be I. So that's the positions. I basically have to do the same thing for all of these. So the v right is going to be j plus 1 for the x, j plus 1 there. That's like also going to be height map. And then for the z, it's going to be I. So everywhere I'm using v right, I can just substitute this instead. So here, and that doesn't have to be a pointer. Here, here, here. Okay, so I got to do that for all of them now. So the v low is now, so the same j component, but then I plus 1, and then so for the z I also want to do I plus 1, and that should be height up. All right, so that's that. So now everywhere there's v low, I can replace it with that. Like you. And you. And you. And you. And you. Okay. Getting there. So that's that, and so now these are no longer pointers. And come to think of it, these aren't addresses either. Okay, so that's that, and then, so now the v left is going to be the j minus 1 for that j minus 1 there, and then the same I coordinate. Yeah, no longer an address, so that is v left. Let me do the same for all the other v lefts here. Okay, so that's that one. So now we need v low left. So that's so j minus, oops, okay, so j minus 1 for the x, and then I plus 1 for the z. All right, so anywhere we got VLL, I can replace that. All right, getting there. And so next we got VLT. Oh wait, that's already been done. Yeah. Okay, so then all these can remove the pointer. Same as these ones here. Okay. So now V high is same J, but then I minus 1. And then that's no longer a pointer. And then here as well. And this one. Okay, so I got two more, V high right and V left. So V high right is J plus 1 and I minus 1. So that's this guy. And this guy. Oh, V left, we got that one. And V left this one. V high right, that one, semicolon, get rid of the pointer. I can probably go ahead and get rid of all these. And Same for these. Okay, I think that's all of them. No, this one. Oh yeah, this one just needs the pointer removed. I think that's it. I think that got all of them. I don't know why this one's tripping out. Okay, no, it went over. Okay, I guess the only way to tell is really to compile it. And we got errors, so that's fine. Not convert from F32 pointer, so pay or line 480. Oh yeah, I'm still using the address there. Probably doing that in a few places actually. Forgot about that. Don't need to do that, that, or that. Oops, I do need the S though. Assume that's what the majority of those errors are trying to tell me. Okay. Still got a bunch of errors. Vertex positions. Oh yeah, it's not vertex positions anymore, it's height map. Whoops. Okay. Forgot all about that. What else? That's that. There we go. Still errors. What do we got? Vector 3 cannot convert argument 2 from F32 pointer. That's 9551. Oh yeah, still missing one of those. What else do we got? Vector 3 does not have an overloaded member. Oh yeah, so that's going to be down here. These no longer should be arrows. Oh my goodness. Okay, I think that did it. If I run it, I just already compiled it, but if I run it now, I get the same plane that I had before. Okay, I think that's what I wanted. So if I go back to making this just noise, it should be all bumpy. And yeah, the normals look more or less correct. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and make that 0 again. Okay, ooh, that was not too bad. So now what I wanna do is I wanna come up here where I'm rendering this one terrain. I'm gonna render 4 of them in each quadrant, centered around the position of the, centered around the center position, I guess. Yeah, so the first one's 0, 0, so then I want to make the other one to the left of that, so that's going to be negative 2, 5, 6, or 2, 5, 2, 5, 5. Yes, 2, 5, 5, 0, 0, 0. All right, so that'll be the one to the left, and then up will be negative 2, 5, 5, 0, negative 2, 5, 5. And then just straight up is 0, 0, negative 2, 5, 5, I think. So if I do that, there we go. Okay, I got my 4. I got the 4 terrains, but my don't need this either. So the very bottom right corner is not rendering, and I'm assuming that's going to be the same on all 4. So that would lead me to believe that the way I am assigning the elements is wrong. So if I come down here, this should be -1. I don't think that's going to fix the problem. No, it doesn't. It's because, oh shoot, I think I know. I think I know what it is. So my terrain is 256 by 256, but my indices are unsigned short. So that's 2 to the 16. It's the same number. It's overflowing, basically. It's when I get to the very end of rendering my terrain, the element is it's underflow or overflowing back around to assume 0. So that means, and I should have actually just done this from the very get-go. I'm gonna have to change my textured mesh renderer to no longer take unsigned shorts, but unsigned integers for element data. It's gonna break some stuff, but it does need to get done. So I'm gonna go ahead. I'm gonna bite the bullet. I'm gonna go ahead and try to do that now. So don't think I need to change anything here. It's just when I actually I'm using the word mesh a lot. Create textured mesh. So here, yeah, so this is going to have to become 32. This is going 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 to become 32. Create textured mesh here. So yeah, same here. This is going to be 32. This is going to be 32. Same for the animated meshes, because those are all using the same textured mesh renderer, so that's going to be 32. This is not going to be fun. Okay, I don't think there's anything there or the mesh animation that I need to mess with. But when rendering the animated mesh, I don't think I have to do anything there. But when I'm rendering all the textured meshes, yes, right here, this has to be 32 now. All right, let me. Okay, so that's in the canvas buffer. That can stay. I don't care about that one. This is debug render. That can stay. This is also skybox renderer can stay. Debug again. More debug. So create animated mesh. This does have to change. So that has to be 32 and 32. That's the canvas buffer again. Canvas. Debug. Debug. Right? Yeah. Skybox. Debug. Okay, so I think it's all set there, but then over here I gotta change some stuff. So yeah, that's gotta become 32, and this has gotta become 32. I think that's it. Oh no, not 132. Here. Oh, right, yeah, I gotta change the function. So create textured mesh from data now takes in a U32. Whoops, geez. Okay, so that's not quite complete here. Oh yeah, this also should be U32 as well. And this, I don't need that at all, actually. Okay, there we go. So the terrain is now complete, but I lost my character mesh, and that's because I have to now change my exporters. So this should actually be ×4 now. Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and do that now. So let's open up Blender and let's open character animations. So this is the animation exporter I was working on, but I need to modify this. Let me go ahead and close. Wait, no, okay. I'm gonna unlink this one and then open the yeah, I'm gonna open, wait, no, sorry, not that one. Open the one inside here, animated mesh. Yeah, okay. So I'm gonna open up this one, and then, so this has to change to 4. And I think instead of capital H, should be capital I. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and run that. Actually, I'm gonna go ahead and text. So I'm gonna save that text, and then I need to, what do I need to do? Here's preferences. Okay, I guess I never added the animated exporter as like an official thing. Oh no, it is. It's right there. Oh no, that's just because I ran the script as it is right now. So that's cool. I guess that means I could just install it like normal. Animated mesh exporter. There we go. All right, so I'm going to restart that. So then hopefully if I now come and open this, come back here. So now I say object animated mesh exporter. So I click that. Object to export is character. File location, put this directly into my project. I don't want relative. And character. Okay, I didn't get any errors. I assume that's because everything worked. So if I just run it, my guy's still gone. So I don't even know if the one I want to run is the one that's running. That's, I guess, the frustrating thing. Because here, yeah, this isn't even what I wanted to load. Okay, you know what, forget they tried to make it an official exporter. Let me just animate a mesh exporter. Yeah, let me just see if I can run this one. And then this one, so character. Put this inside of there, not relative. Oops. I don't know, I guess some other reason why it's not working, but it's fine. I'm not really concerned with that right now. I'll fix that next time. But what I want to do is, so I successfully changed that to just be a 2D array of floats instead of positions. So I'm going to try to generate some kind of like Perlin noise thing. And I know I did that earlier with the skybox and it didn't come out so well, but I'm going to try to do it a little bit more proper, the way it's meant to be done. So yeah, let me do that. I'm just going to come up here, come up above update player, and I'll make a static method called void. I'll call it generate terrain. Sure, why not? So this is going to take in that 2D array of floats to be the map, and then that's going to get filled in with all the right height variables. And do I need anything else? Not really. So so for now, I'm just going to deal with everything in multiples of 256. Later I can adjust the size dynamically if I want, but for now I just want to get it working. So everything's going to be 256. And so what I need is I need a grid of random numbers of noise, basically. So let me do that. Let me make a 2D array of noise. That'll actually, let me do this. This will be the proper thing to do. I'll make this constant, and then that way I can do size by size. All right, and then I need to iterate through each one of those and give it a random value, pseudo-random value, if you will. And then so we want the noise at I and j to equal some randomness. So I want to control the randomness with the seed, so I'm just going to stick with my cheesy XOR shift method for now. I know that's not the most random way to do this, but it'll look random enough for me, for testing purposes at least. So this will say XOR shift. So the seed will just be 1 for now. And then so every time I assign a value, I'm going to cast v to a float and divide it by the maximum thing an int can be. So that just makes it a float between 0 and 1. And then I want v to equal XOR shift with v. So using v as the c for the next thing. Okay, so I generate a 2D array of random noise. I guess I can test it to see if it's working, but I think it's fine. So then once I do that, I'm going to iterate through every pixel. Let me go ahead and set that up. This is going to take some thinking here. Okay, so I'm going to iterate through every pixel. And then for every pixel, I need to iterate on that a bunch of times and calculate something. Yeah, so I need another loop here. I'll call this D for division. D is less than, we'll do eight divisions or iterations or octaves, is that the word? Octaves has to do with 8, I know that. Yeah, so every time I need to take the size and multiply it by 2, I'm sorry, I need to divide it by 2 times whatever D is equal to. And then, oh wait, hold on. I could do this smarter. I can pretend like I programmed before. I can say size, no, hold on, I need to make a new variable. So I'll call this div, is equal to size, and if I just shift it to the right, the amount of D, it'll basically be dividing it by 2 D times. So when D is 0, it'll stay the same. When D is 1, it'll divide it by 2. When D is 2, it'll divide that by 2 and then divide that by 2. When D is 3, it'll divide it by 2, divide that by 2, and then divide that by 2. That's what I want. And it's faster. Okay, so I generated my noise. I got I don't even know what the word is, the divisions, the frequency, I guess. So now I need to calculate the indices in this 2D array that I'm going to interpolate between. So let me see, so I need x index 1, so that's like the left x index, and that is equal to, that's j divided by a div, but then I want to multiply that by div, right? Because this is integer division, so this is going to give me a whole number, and then I want to multiply that by however much the division is to give me that actual index. And so we need to do the same for the y. Whoops. So that will be I divided by div times div, and that will be the y's first index. And then I need the x index 2. So this is the one after that, which is going to be this first index I calculated plus division. But then if this goes past the size here, I want it to loop back around to the beginning. So I'm going to mod that by size. Okay, and I got to do the same for the y coordinate, which is that plus div mod size. Okay. All right, so these are the 4 indices into the noise array that I need to calculate. And then I need to also calculate, like as a percentage, how far into or in between these indices I am. Right? Yeah, so that's, so I need to make a float this time, and that's going to be equal to j minus the first index, and that should be a float. Oh yeah, but then I need to divide that by this thing here, the division. That should also be casted as a float. Okay, so that should be that, and then I gotta do the same. Oh, I need to name this as well. I'll call this xt. All right, so again, I need the same thing for the y coordinate. That's going to be I. Call that yt. Okay, so now that I have those 4 points, I need to, before I was using cubic interpolation. That was kind of slow and not necessary. So at this time, I'm going to just use linear interpolation, and I believe I have to write that. I have it for vectors. I don't have it for just a standard float, though. Let me go ahead and write that real quick. And while I'm doing this, I wrote some cubic interpolation. Well, I didn't write it, actually. I stole it from Wikipedia. But I am going to take these out of here and put them in my math file where they belong. I'll just throw them here. All right, so now I got to write some linear interpolations. So I need a start, an end, and a t, and this is just start plus end minus start times t. All right, basically the same thing as for a vector, but just only one component. And then so I need a bicubic, or no, I'm sorry, bilinear interpolate. So okay, so for this one I need 4 points and then 2 t values. So this will be top left, top right, the bottom left, bottom right. This will be x and y. Okay, so to calculate this, so I need to calculate 2 extra x positions here. So I need like a x1, and that's the linear interpolation of top left and top right with x, and the same thing for x2, except I'm going to use bottom left and bottom right. And so the final result of this is, actually I could just return that straight up. So again, I now need to linear interpolate between x1, x2 using my y coordinate. So that should be that. Guess I'll find out soon enough if I wrote that wrong. Okay, so after all of that, I can now calculate the point here. So float, I'll call this p, is a bilinear, no, not bicubic, bilinear interpolation of, I need, so I need to calculate, no, I need to index into the noise array using y index 1, x index 1, so that's 1 point. I need 3 more. right, so second point, third point, fourth point, and then x and or xt and yt. Okay, so these points will be y index 1, y index 2, y index 2, y index 2. So x index 1, x index 2, x index 1, x index 2. Okay. All right. So a lot of code, a lot of little testing, but it's all coming together. We'll see if it actually works in a minute. So once I calculate the point, I need to factor in how many, what do you call these things? Amplitudes? Is that the word? I don't know. I'm going to call this amp. I don't think that's the right word, but we're going to call it that anyway. So what I want to do is I want amp to increment by p, but I will need to multiply that by some kind of like scale factor. So I'll call this scale. So it's going to start at 1 and then reduce by half each time. So that's going to happen there. And then I want scale to get multiplied by half. And then, so here after each of these 8 division loops, I guess, I need to now pinpoint, or I set, actually not pinpoint, but set the pixel, or the pixels, not the right word. Set the point, the vertical location of this map here. So that's map I and j is equal to amp, right? No, that's not right. I need another thing here. I need to calculate, like, I need to total up the scale each time. So I'll call this just total. So that's amp divided by the total. And then before I decrease the scale, I just want to say that total is going to increase by scale. Okay, so that should do it. I don't know if that's going to compile. Okay, it doesn't. I'm actually kind of relieved it doesn't compile. So mathematics line 79 is unhappy. Why? Oh, because I have an extra comma. All right, now it works. Okay, that's scary. Okay, so I still got my plain flat terrain. So now if I were to come around here, where are we going here? Okay, so if I get rid of this and I say generate, no, that's not what I want. Generate terrain map, there we go. So I'm gonna pass in the address. I don't think I need that, yeah. Wait, no, I don't need address. Of the states terrain dot height map. Okay, so if I did that, I get some kind of terrain distortion there. That looks actually halfway decent. I was kind of hoping it would line up a little bit better on the edges, but that's quite okay, I guess. Huh. It's a little, I thought it was going to be a lot more dynamic than that. Oh wait, hold on, that should be times scale, not 1. That makes it a lot less dynamic, actually. That had the opposite effect, but it's probably more right. So I think what if I do this? What if I just upset the balance a lot? I say this is times 100, but then subtract it by 50. There we go. That's a lot more what I was expecting. But again, yeah, I was really hoping that the seams would line up, but we got gaps, which, you know, I guess, I'm probably not going to do it this way anyway. I'm probably going to render one solid terrain and just update the vertices dynamically. So it's really okay that they don't line up. But I'm also getting some weird normals here. Like these normals here should be the same color. And it seems like it's happening pretty regularly along the edge of this. So let me take a look at that, see if I can figure out why. So it's on the edge, so that would have to be when when j is equal to 0, but not when I is equal to 0, and not when I is equal to the edge. So it would be this condition, so somewhere here. Oh, you know what, this one, I had to reverse this one. So this is v low minus v pos, v right and v pos. Yeah, so probably the same thing here. I just got to change these. There we go. Yeah, that fixed that. Cool. Okay, so yes, I'm going to actually do away with the for terrain thing because I don't think that's doing what I want it to do. So let me get rid of these. Okay, yeah, so then instead of rendering 4 of them, I'm going to put this one in the middle. And I think all I really have to do is just upset these. Yeah, okay. All right, it's looking really bumpy. What if I smooth it out? What if I only did like 4 of these? Yeah, it's less detailed. I don't know why it's so patchy. Like you can see each quad very clearly. Is that the way I'm calculating the normals? I would assume it would have to be. Yeah, I think the normals would have to be calculated differently in this case. Let me put that back. Yeah. Okay, so I don't know what to do from here. All right, so I'm getting a height map. You know, I kind of wanted to fix that player, why he's not rendering. Yeah, let me double check to see if there's anything I'm missing, because I'm pretty sure all I had to do was say that that's times 4 now, not times 2. And then when I'm actually saving the indices, I need to save it as a capital I, which would be an unsigned int, right? That's definitely the one I ran recently. Yeah, he's gone. I don't know where. Mm-hmm. So something else broke when I changed the elements to be integers instead of shorts. Why? Why did that happen? Yeah, capital I is definitely unsigned int. That's how I want to save them as. Let me double check here, do another search for U16. Again, those all only reference other renderers, not the textured mesh renderer. Skybox. More debug stuff. Yep, that is it. That's the only time I'm referencing that. So let me... Oh, you know what? Yeah, the index data size would be wrong too. Wait, no, because the file would be fixing that. Wouldn't it? All right, so then what I'm looking for is the index data size. That's 7650. How many times am I calling this function? Seems like way too many. Yeah, so that's probably for the character. That would make a lot of sense. Or possibly for the terrain, actually. Oh, okay, so I'm actually still creating these here, which I don't even need anymore. Fact. Yeah, I don't think I need those either. So just the terrain. That's it. Wait. Oh, and then the animated textured mesh. Oh, you know what? It might actually... I'm just crazy. Okay. I completely disabled the rendering of it, so it's probably working this whole time. Yeah, there he is. Okay, yeah. Jeez. Okay. That was dumb. But it's all right. Glad that problem solved, though. Okay, so we have a terrain map being generated. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a function that gives you the Y position of that terrain map based on the position you send it. So I'll call this get vert position. in terrain. All right, so it'll take a pointer to a terrain, and then it'll take in a x, oops, it's supposed to be x, x and a z position. And so it's giving that, and then, I feel like I need something else, but I'm not sure what. So I need a terrain x and a z. Oh, I guess like you need like a offset. Okay, let me just put this in a vector. So the x and z position, and then it'll give you back the y position essentially. And then so you would want to also, because the terrain's not always going to be at 0, 0. So you need to know the terrain's position. So I'm going to say vector 2 terrain offset. All right, so then now that I think about that, when I okay, so when I'm rendering the terrain, I want to actually use the terrain's position. Is it? Oh, it's not an address. Okay, so that doesn't change anything here, but it should have though, right? No, because these are being put wrong. Yeah, so I don't need this anymore. Now that's going to put the terrain back in the corner. Whoops. Oh yeah, actually that's, I think, exactly where I wanted. And then so, so yeah, after I make the terrain, I'm going to say the states terrain dot position equals vector 3, so negative 120, no, sorry, 255, 0, negative 255. No, it is 128. There we go. Okay, so that all I did was just put that back to where I wanted it. But that's going to help me. So yeah, actually I don't need the offset because that's saved inside the terrain now, so I don't have to worry about that. Where did it go? All right. So this x and z can be anywhere, but I need to wrap it around the terrain. So, okay, let me think about this here. Okay, so there's the terrain. So the terrain has a width, come on, and it has a height. Now the position can be anywhere on that height, but in addition to a width and a height, it has an x and a y. Go away. All right, so it's got an x and y position, it's got a width, it's got a height. So what I want to do is, if for some reason my player's x and y is off of the terrain, I want it to loop back, so then it'll be as if he's standing over here instead of off into nothing. So to do that, okay, so I think what I'm going to do, not delete that. So first I want to get the position wrapped back around. So I need like a F mod for that. All right. I don't know. Yeah, let me forget about that. Let me just forget, or let me just think about what if it's in there. So U32 x as an integer is, and it's actually not u, it's signed. So I need the signed 32 version of xz.x, and the same for the z. Actually, this is going to get confusing because it's the z component, but since it's a 2D, it's the y component. Okay, so that's the integer form of that, and then I need the modulo version of that. So that's x mod is x integer mod the terrains. Does a terrain have a width and height? Yes. Okay, so that's that, and then I need the same for the z mod. Right. Yeah, I think so. Maybe not. I don't know. Okay, so then I need, so the terrain has a height map. I need the 4 coordinates that surround me in that height map, which I guess is just xi, or no, xm, xm plus 1, zm plus 1. So what if I did this? So I just said return the bilinear interpolation of xm plus 1 zm. No. Hold on. Yeah, okay, so it's going to be the terrains.height map at xm and zm. Okay, I need to figure out some other stuff here as well. Okay, so this is going to be xm, no, sorry, this is wrong. zm plus 1 here, and then plus 1 here, and then this is all going to be xm plus 1, xm, and then xm plus 1. And I still need to calculate the x time and the z time, which are calculated as floats, and so I can calculate that by taking the actual xz dot x, subtract the x integer, cast that as a float. I think that's it. So that'll give me the decimal point after that, and then I do the same for the z. Xz dot y, zt, and so this will be those values there. Okay, I have no idea if that's going to work. I seriously doubt it will, to be honest. But we're going to give it a shot. So to test if it works, I need to change a bunch of things. Okay, so where I'm updating my player. Okay, I'm not going to worry about jumping anymore. And then it's going to be a waste, but every frame I'm going to calculate the player's position on that map. So F32, I'll call this Y is equal to get vertical position on terrain, pass in the states terrain, and then we want to pass in the players. Actually, it's going to be a vector 2. So vector 2 of the player's positions X and the player's position Z. And let's just see if this works. Cannot convert argument 1 from terrain to terrain pointer because I need an address there. Okay. Well, the guy didn't completely disappear, but he also didn't get put. Oh, you know what? Yeah, it's because I'm not rendering the game in the right way. Okay, so we want the game to start in. I'm just going to call update player in debug mode just to make it the easiest way testable. And that breaks it. Cool. Why is this a problem? Integer division by 0. So the texture, I'm never setting the width and height of the texture. That would make sense. I'm not the texture, the terrain. There we go. And the guy completely disappears. Okay. Why would that be? Oh yeah, you know what? I'm not even considering the fact that I am offsetting the terrain. So in fact, so if I stop doing this here, oops. Yeah, now he gets put exactly in the right spot. Okay, so let me go ahead and continue with this test here, and then I'll worry about offsetting the terrain again. All right. Okay, so all I did was make it so that when you press the A and D keys that the player will move left and right by the amount of delta time. And it's going to be really slow, so let me just go ahead and multiply that by something. And I don't want to worry about any of the jumping stuff for now. Okay, so there he is. When I go to the right, he moves to the right, and he follows the terrain. That looks good. All right, so now let me do the same for up and down. So that will be W and S, and that's going to be Z, Z, and that should actually be minus, and that should be plus. Where'd he go? There he is. Okay, there he goes. So now he's running across the terrain, and he follows the height of the terrain exactly, which is good. That's what I would like. It's kind of weird that the I guess it makes sense. The update player function is also updating the camera. Yeah, it's all wonky. It's all messed up, but it's fine. I just wanted to see if I can get the guy to follow on top of the terrain. But now let me see if I can consider the terrain's position. So if I say get terrain, get vertical position of terrain. So yeah, I think I would need a new vector too. So for the updated xz is equal to x, actually I can just say xz dot x minus t dot position dot x, and then xz dot y minus p position dot z. Okay, so that shouldn't change anything here, at least. And if I go off, yeah, he still just, oh, he completely goes out of bounds there. Okay, yeah, so I definitely have to consider negative numbers at some point. But with that being done, I could, or at least I should be able to now put the terrain back offset. Oh, something crashed. Oh yeah, okay, so this is the problem. Yeah, so when I'm adding one, I actually need to modulo this by something. Actually, let me calculate this in advance. So before I do this, let me say S32xm2 is equal to xm plus, hold on. Oh yeah, so yeah, it's the same thing. So xm plus 1, but then I want to mod that by uxz, no. Oh, no, it's just terrain's width. Okay, so then the same for z. Zm plus 1 mod by t's height. Two. Zm2, no, that should be xm, and then xm2. Okay, so let's see if that fixes that other problem. And then the guy still wasn't in the right spot, but we'll see if that can be fixed as well. Okay, so yeah, that's clearly not the right spot. So, oh, that's probably because I need to do this instead. XZ. Yeah, that might be it. No. That should be, wait, xz should be 0, 0, which it is. But then if I'm subtracting position x and position z minus negative, oh, that's adding. So I gotta add to it. That would do it. Oh, still not there. Okay, so negative 128, negative 128. But that's not getting me the correct index into the array. Hold on, I gotta figure this out. Okay, yeah, so I'm not doing this right. Okay, so I think this now has to be plus terrain's width. No. Terrain's position dot x, but then I need to modulo that by the width. And then here, same thing, but for the height. Not quite. So where would he even be? Hold on, so I'm subtracting that. Position. Let me pull up paint again here. So here's my terrain. So if this, okay, so 0, 0 is here. If this were to back up here to here, so I would need to find, wait, add, wait, no, so it would be subtract. All right. So it's got to be this then. So xm mod t width. So instead of xi, it's got to be xi minus t position dot x mod t width. This is going to be xi minus t dot position. Nope. Oh, because we got a float over here, don't we? So let's just make this an integer. I don't know. Now I'm starting to second guess myself. course not. Oh, but there he is below, so... Okay, so I'm kind of... I think I'm kind of on the right track, but maybe not. Or would this be plus? Guess not. All right, let me back up and think about this again. So if I don't put the, oops, if I don't put any sort of offset onto the terrain, okay, it works well enough as long as I stay in the positive areas. But as soon as I add this offset, let me just do something more subtle, like 10. Yeah, okay, so now he's being treated like he's in a completely different part of the height map, which is fine, as long as I can figure out how to offset that. So here, okay, so I get the x integer, that y integer, or the z integer, and then I modulo that by the t width, the t height. It would have to be this right here. I'm sure I'm gonna have that right over there. Then xt, no, that'll stay the same. Okay, oops, about that. Okay, and it makes sense because you can't mod with a float, so I'm thinking about this wrong. X int t position. Yeah, it really should be the position from the very get-go, right? Could have sworn I tried this already. If this doesn't work, I'm gonna go ahead and call it a night. Alright, that should be position.z. Oh, wait. Oh, now it's working. Okay, I guess I didn't try that before. All right, there we go. So now if I put this terrain, putting anything, 128 by 128. Oops, not 125, although it should still work. There we go. All right, sweet. I got this guy running around on the surface of a procedurally generated terrain. And of course, I gotta make it so that it doesn't update the camera and the player independently. Oh no, it's gonna be down here. Okay, so now the camera doesn't move, but I can move the guy all across the surface of the terrain, which is nice. That's what I'm looking for. Yeah, so next time I'm going to do some stuff. What I'm going to do, I don't know. I want to do some coloring with the terrain. I want to make it so that the terrain doesn't have a set texture, but the texture gets generated dynamically based on the height of the terrain. That would be cool. And then, yeah, at some point I need to dynamically build the vertices of the terrain so that they adjust to the camera. That's going to be some work. And I still want to kind of clean up the way the terrain looks. Maybe it just needs to be stretched out more, but I don't know, it looks kind of ugly. Yeah, it's still a work in progress, you know. But happy with the way I got the Perlin noise thing working better this time. I think I can redo my skybox now that I kind of understand how it works a little bit better. Yeah, I think that's good progress for today. Let's go ahead and save everything and then wrap it up. Say terrain progress. And while that's saving, yeah, that's it. I'm going to wrap it up. All right. Thank you, everybody. See you next time.